9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Warning, warning. Danger, danger. A strange world is on Me TV.
A world somehow like ours, but of incredible darkness and fear.
What is the show called?
It has been called many different names by many different cultures.
Oh, I know. It's called Lost in Space. Saturday at 8, 7 Central on Me TV.
Hi, I'm John Malos, and welcome to this edition of Connect with Me here live on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on Comcast Channel 187 and 43.6 on this day. Today we have a Hill in the house. That's right, he's Coach Hill. We'll tell you which one. We won't give it away now. 436-ME-TV is the telephone number to call if you want to call in and be a member and a guest on the program. Well, a guest caller, I should say. And don't forget, turn down the sound on your TV and hit option 11. Back with our guest in just a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
A little windy outside today. Not sure it's a good day to go out and play golf because it is very, very windy. We're talking the world of sports today, but it's great to get out there and play football, maybe a little baseball. Speaking of which, since today is the world of sports, how about my Giants last night coming from behind on a Pablo Sandoval walk-off two-run homer to beat Washington, of course, in 10 innings, and then the A's beat Texas 1-0. And my guest today, he's a Cleveland fan. His Indians are doing quite well in baseball this year so far. We'll see what happens. It's a long, long season. The dog days of summer are ahead of us, of course, as you well know. Well, today we're talking football. We're talking high school football, and one coach in particular. Let's go to the graphic. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Hey, like father, like son, there he is. Mike Hill on the left, Coach Pat Hill on the right, a chip off the old block. Mike, his first year, head coach at Hoover. Of course, Pat Hill was 15 years at Fresno State as the head coach. He is now an assistant coach with the Atlanta Falcons, a team that nearly went to the Super Bowl last year. Hey, how about prowling the sidelines much like his father did? Let's go to the video. There is Mike Hill on the sidelines this past year as head coach of Hoover, the high school football team. And just like his dad, well, he's not wearing it there, I see, but he does wear that safari hat once in a while, just like his dad did during practice. His season this year ended up with 4 wins, 7 losses. You know, when your last name is Hill, the focus is going to be on you. When he took over the program, though, listen to this. 62% or 62 of the 83 players academically were on probation or ineligible. Well, Hill got that number down to 23, quite incredible the first year. Hoover, though, the smallest enrollment in Fresno Unified. They have only 1,700 students, and so it's got to be a hard job, a very difficult job to coach football out there. Hoover High is almost like coaching an inner city team to a certain extent. Hill has a tough job ahead of him. He's live in our studio right now. Mike Hill, the head football coach at Hoover High School. The upcoming season is not that far away. He went 4-7, a lot to work on, a lot to talk about, but he's a chip off the old block. We'll talk about him, we'll talk about his father, and certainly the head coaching job that lies ahead now in his second full season as the head coach at Hoover. Your phone calls are important. 436-ME-TV is the number, and it's up on your screen. Hit option 11, turn the sound down, and we'll be back with our guest in just a moment.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
If sports is your game and you love sports, you love football, you love baseball, hey, today is your day. 436-ME-TV is the telephone number. And hit option 11, turn the sound down so we can hear you and, you can hear us, because that's kind of the way it works here for this program if you've been watching for a while. Mike Hill is our guest today. Good to see you, my friend.
John, pleasure to see you.
Hey, thanks for taking the time to come in. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
So, first year head coach, what'd you learn last year?
A lot in 1 year. Anytime you get a head coaching position, you learn a lot of things on the fly. But you know what? Going through some of the things that I went through last year, I think it's just going to make me a better coach and a better person down the road. And then, ultimately I'm a teacher. So if anything, my people skills have improved, and I think I've grown a little bit wiser in my first year. So we just started spring ball this year, got a great group of kids, very excited about what we're doing over there and the philosophy and schemes we're trying to run. And, good things take time. So I'm excited that spring ball is here, because we've waited since November. So May's here, and that means it's football time, and I'm excited. So, yes.
Now, you're a teacher there. Explain what you do as a teacher at Hoover High.
I work in special education. I'm the orthopedically impaired case manager. So those are children or young adults that are bound to wheelchairs and have some moderate to severe type disabilities.
Yeah. Well,
and it ranges, because a lot of my students, I have students that are diploma track, non-diploma track, and certificate, just depending on the severity of the disability. So,
right. And working with disability, students who have a disability, that tells me you have a lot of patience. Do you have as much patience with your football team and your football players?
I do, because I treat my students with disabilities the same way that I would treat any student who doesn't have a disability and is able, because everybody's a human being, and I don't treat anybody different. That's how I entered the profession, and that's how I always want to treat my students that I teach and the players that I coach, who are student athletes as well. So,
if you were to pick one thing that you learned, what's at the top of the list last year?
One thing I learned is when you come into a program, and you're a new coach, you really got to put your foot down and be stern with how things are going to be run. You mean
say what you mean and mean what you say?
Yes. Your word goes a long way with what you say and backing it up. Because, if you don't have trust with the players you're coaching, then your word doesn't really mean anything, and I don't think you have anything going forward with what you're trying to do. With that being said, I learned a lot with that and putting my foot down with hard decisions. It's something I had to do. I had a lot of people who helped me and mentor me, because I knew there were going to be some things that go wrong that you try and figure out in your first year, but you want to be better the next time around. And I feel with an off season and everything that I went through and having a reevaluation and talking to players and stuff, this year's looking really bright. And I'm excited about the group of kids that I have.
And putting your foot down means gaining respect.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you had to do and focus on in the first year, is earning that respect from your players?
Yes. Well, when you have a great legendary coach and Coach Pat Plummer, who's been there and done phenomenal things for that school.
Yeah, he was there 25 years.
Yeah, and he was there 25 years, gave his heart and soul to that program and that school. He leaves, it's almost kind of like a broken heart. So you have kids who are just kind of like down. Then you have another coach who's a great coach, Jim O'Brien, who's now over at Clovis East, came in 1 year and then left. The kids are kind of like, well, who's going to be this coach who comes in and really is going to stay there and care about us as kids and as a program as a whole of where we want to go as a football program. So, it's taken time, and I see the light right now. And, now it's just about getting results and getting the most out of our kids, which I think we have a fantastic core of group kids.
Do you yell and scream? Or are you kind of a quiet guy?
I'm more of an exciting guy at practice. I'm not a screamer or grabbing kids and stuff like that. My dad would do that from time to time, but it was all in good. I mean, my dad just loves the game too, and I love it too. But, I like talking to my kids on a real basis where it's just face-to-face. But when they do something, I'm celebrating like they just won the lotto, when I'm out there and they're doing things right, especially when you're teaching them new fundamentals, new things that revolve around your scheme or what you're trying to do offensively and defensively. So,
Is it hard to get through to them sometimes?
no, sometimes you have to repeat it. I mean, but, that's just like anybody else. Sometimes you don't get things right the first time. I mean, that's why, as a coach, you better have some patience in whatever you're doing because, the ultimate goal is when you learn something and you watch it go and how you're teaching, it's just great to sit back and watch. But there's a lot of work that goes into it when you're teaching.
Well, one of the things I didn't mention in my monologue in the opening is the fact that you were an assistant coach at Hoover for 4 years before this.
Yes.
Is it the job more difficult than you thought it would be?
I think there's just a lot more when you're a head coach. There's a lot more administrative and different responsibilities that you take on when you're an assistant coach or a coordinator. So there's a lot more things that are on your mind, obviously, during the course of a day. But other than that, you got to keep it all relative and keep it simple and have fun with what you're doing. Because if you're not having fun with what you're doing, then I don't know why you're doing it in the first place. So, but I'm having fun. I love it. I got a great group of support people around me that are involved with the program and help me, keeping this thing go. So I'm just looking forward to this season, spring ball. We got our day 2 practice today.
Yeah.
So we're excited.
Yeah, so
Very
you
excited.
just started. We got a phone call here. Let's take it. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you? Hello?
Good morning, Mr. Malos.
Hi, how are
I'm
you?
glad that you guys have this program. My name is Monica Harrison. My son is an outside linebacker for Fresno State football.
Oh, okay.
And I just want to thank Coach Hill for what he has done, son and father, and just want to wish them nothing but success with Hoover. It's been a pleasure throughout the years to be with Coach Plummer in the stand supporting his son, and I'm just proud of the young people in this community and the efforts that they make, and I look forward to Fresno County Office of Education doing a better job at making a transition and assistance for our student athletes to the next level so that they can continue to achieve academic and athletic success and overall success in all their endeavors. But could you please tell Coach Hill I said I wish Hoover Patriots nothing but the best.
I will.
I'm a Rough Rider.
Well, he can hear you right
Your
now.
mom.
I can hear you right now. Is this Miss Harrison?
Yes, baby.
Yes.
I love you guys so much. Give your mom a hug.
I will. She's in town
Yeah.
right now, and I'll be sure to call my dad and let him know.
Oh, I love him so much. And my daughter's in the background. She said, "Tell Coach Hill she loves him." I'm proud. I know that your family is proud of Fresno State winning the Mountain West Championship.
Oh, yeah.
But that success wouldn't have been without your father's contribution to the program. And at the senior banquet, he was acknowledged. And I just want you to know that you're always acknowledged in our family. And I thank him for recruiting my son and giving us an opportunity to see him locally and the rest of the kids from the Valley. And I will get to your games and be there and supporting you guys this season.
I appreciate
So,
that.
God bless you guys. And
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, and God bless you, too.
all right, take care.
All right. Thank you for the phone call. I appreciate it. Somebody you've known in the family for a long time, I assume.
Yes. Oh, yes. I know a lot of parents, a lot of family members. Obviously, when my dad put in 15 years, there's a lot of people you meet
Yeah.
over time, and a lot of great people.
See what you got yourself into? You have a lot to live up to, my friend.
Yeah.
Better you than me. We're talking with one and only Mike Hill. He's the head football coach at Hoover High School. Your phone calls are important. 436-ME-TV. Hit option 11. Turn the sound down. We're back with our guest in just a moment.
Weeknights on MeTV. Who loves you, baby?
You shouldn't ask.
It's Kojak
Well, it sounds like music to my ears.
on MeTV.
Look at me.
Why do we love him?
Maybe it's the way I comb my hair.
Or maybe it's his trusty right-hand man.
More bite? Crocker! Crocker! Crocker!
Well, I just wanted to hear how it sounded.
Telly Savalas is Kojak.
Story of my life, baby.
Weeknights at 12:30, 11:30 Central on MeTV.
Who loves you?
And we're back. 436-ME-TV is the telephone number. Hit option 11. Turn down the sound. We're with Mike Hill. Of course, your father is Pat Hill, the former head coach at Fresno State, 15 years, well respected. Of course, we took the last phone call there. We kind of reinforced that a little bit. So your father's doing pretty good down there in Atlanta. Almost went to the Super Bowl last year, huh?
Yeah, they were 10 yards away. It was fun watching that. I was at that game.
Yeah.
I wish they were in it, but, it didn't happen. But that league is just phenomenal. I mean, they should just
What
call
a conference, huh? Man.
Yeah, well, just top to bottom. Well, every team, they call it the NFL, the National Football League. It's more like the National Fair League because everybody's on an even playing field. So, I mean, it's truly a game of inches in that league. So
yeah, Atlanta's going to be back. They're definitely going to be back. There's no question about it.
They'll be very good again this year.
It'll be at Atlanta and San Francisco again. Who knows?
Seattle. Don't forget about Seattle and Green Bay.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, the NFC's got some great teams.
Yeah.
Great teams in there.
It's going to be tough. You never know.
Is your father happy now?
He is.
Is he happier, I should say?
I mean, don't get me wrong. He was happy here with everything that he did in 15 years. And, being that he's, obviously getting older and stuff, and he enjoys being an Indian again instead of a chief, and just coaching his core guys. And it was really interesting. I just remember when he was being a head coach, we'd be hanging around the office like 3 hours after a home game, I mean, we went and watched the NFC Championship game. We walk out. We were out of that place in 20 minutes, because he doesn't have to deal with, the media and stuff. And it was just in and out, and we weren't good enough today. He's, a little upset, obviously, but it was just weird, seeing that whole dynamic. But I think
the pro game is a different game too.
It is
than the college game. I mean, it's much different in terms of. You got to deal with academics, you got to deal with the administration, the alumni. You don't have any of that in the pros.
You don't. It's all business. So.
Yeah, it's a business thing.
Oh, yeah, big time. And, being an assistant coach, you really don't have a lot of say because that's why they have GMs and owners, and the head coach does a lot of that stuff. All
right, if you hung around your father all these years, and I must say, interesting side note to all this, when Pat Hill became the head coach at Fresno State, what was it, 1996?
96, but 97 was his first season.
97 was his first season. Mike Hill was 7 years old. 7 or 8 years old.
No, I was 13.
You were 13. Oh, that's right. You were in the 7th grade.
Yeah.
Okay, you were 13 or 14 years old. 13. Okay, but he was in the 7th grade. Now he's coaching his own football team at Hoover High. And if you hung around your father so often, and you were in the locker room, in and out at every game, you must have taken something away from your father. What's the biggest thing that you learned from your dad?
Just being very relational with the players. I think, what a lot of people don't see is how close my dad was with all of his players. Every practice, after a practice, he was in the locker room talking with them, having fun, talking about life with them, and just as a head coach, sometimes I don't think you see that, but he was very relational with his players, and that's something that I try to be, because I look at my title as a head coach as probably like the 4th term. I look at myself when I'm around my players as I'm a mentor, I'm a counselor, I'm a teacher. Then I might be a head coach. So, there's a lot of other titles that I think go before being a head coach.
Right.
Which is
I saw a quote in the Fresno Bee that was written last year, and it says that Pat Hill often warned Mike, Matt, and Zach, don't ever get into the job I got into. I'm assuming that he was talking about coaching. Is that true?
Well, no, he had a conversation, with me because, about that. Funny thing about my dad, like, when he told me, he loved coaching football, obviously, but when he first started coaching football, there wasn't a lot of money in it.
Yeah.
And with him and his dad owned a State Farm branch and wanted him to run it. So when his dad found out that he was going to coach football and then work side jobs to make ends meet until, he got his first pro job, that really disappointed my dad's dad. So, but, my dad, he loves what he does. Don't get me wrong.
Did he want you to get into coaching?
He asked me to, and I said, no, I want to do, if I do anything, Dad, I'll do it at the high school level.
So that quote there was kind of misleading a little bit,
That was misleading,
yeah. Yeah. So your dad never said, hey, don't get into coaching. He kind of encouraged you, and you really didn't want to.
He encouraged me to do what I love to do and make sure when you go to work every day, you love doing what you do, because I love doing what I do. And he goes, don't just do a job just because it makes a lot of money, or don't do a job just because, you know, because my dad was never like pushing me to do one thing. He goes, have fun and love what you do.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But you became a coach because of your dad, for the
I
most
just
part.
love being around the game and coaching sports
Yeah.
and being around kids because I'm a pretty social person. I mean, I went to school for business to get into sales. That didn't really work out, and I was out of school a few months. I said, I better go back to school and get my credential, you know, because I missed coaching. That's what I did while I was getting my degree in college. So I did football and basketball, and, you know, football I've been around since I was able to walk, obviously. So, you know, I just love the game.
But
and
to
love being
you,
around it.
the one thing that you learned from your dad is the relationship with your players, and you're trying to build on those relationships at Hoover.
Mm-hmm.
You think that's the key to your success?
I think so because, you know, if the kids get a mindset to where they love playing the game, but ultimately they love playing for the person who's leading them and coaching them, I think you get a lot out of your kids too, you know, performance-wise, and not just on the football field, but in the classroom and becoming a young man, you know. So I think that's really important. You know, that's something that I watched, just the interaction he had with players outside of just coaching football.
Yeah, you have a very important role because you're going to have a great influence on some of these kids as they enter, you know, the adult stage, and then they get out of high school, they go to college, and first thing you know, they're out in the real world. So you're a major influence in their lives right now. Mike Hill is our guest today here on Connect with Me on Comcast, Channel 187, 43.6. Your phone calls, 436-ME-TV. Hit option 11. Back in a moment.
Is taking care of laundry taking too much of your time? Have you become a missing mom? With a new fast, efficient washer and dryer from Ventura TV Video Appliance, you'll spend more of your day the way you want.
This Amana Super Capacity Washer Dryer Pair is now just $6.99, and this heavy-duty Maytag Super Capacity Washer Dryer Pair is only $8.99.
Don't spend your life on laundry. Upgrade today at Ventura TV Video Appliance and save.
We're back with Mike Hill, the head football coach at Hoover High School. And let me ask you something. Let's turn to the monitor here and look at some video from last year's season, the Hoover High Patriots. And of course, you went 4-7. But, you know, as I mentioned in the monologue, it's tough to coach this team. You have the lowest enrollment in the district at Hoover High. It's almost like coaching an inner city football team, a school. Is that right?
No, it's not. I don't think it's really an inner city football team. It's just the demographic of people in our district has a little bit changed. But I wouldn't say we're inner city. And we have a lot of good kids. Don't get me wrong. My kids are great kids.
Right.
The core group of kids, like I was telling you, are really good. And people seem to say that. I don't know why they say that, because we have a lot of great kids on that campus. We just have smaller numbers compared to the other high schools within the district. But the players that I have, I wouldn't trade them because we have great kids. And, you know, just the way our first day of spring ball went, the kids were just having a great time. And, you know, we try to make practice fun. We're doing some different things out at practice this year where the kids are enjoying practice more and getting other kids on campus involved. Like I have leadership students, getting community service hours, being around our team. You know, I'm trying to make this sport fun because, like I tell our kids, I go, you guys play a vital part in how the school year goes. Your success and how you do everything is really important. So how you guys start a season and how you do is you guys kind of set the tone for the year for how the rest of the sports are going to do and what our academic school year is like too, because there's a lot of kids playing football, you know, when you look at it. So
yeah. How many players are out for the team this year?
Right now, just our sophomores, juniors, and seniors are out there. And our numbers on Monday, we had 68. And give or take, there was a handful that talked to me that they couldn't make it for various reasons. So we have a little over 70. We're looking at probably 40 to 45 on varsity and probably 30 to 35 on our JV team.
Now, I mentioned during the monologue, when you took over the program, 62 of the 83 players academically were on probation or ineligible. When you first came in, you got that number down to 23 instead of 62 out of 83. Now it's 23 out of whatever the large number is of players. One, how were you able to do that? And number two, how is that ratio this year?
The ratio this year is a lot better. Last year I was able to do it because of our principal, Miss Lori Grace, was really good about because a lot of our kids have to take the bus. So getting them tokens to make sure they're there, study hall, we were doing roll, and just making demands. Hey, if you're not at this GPA, 2.0 or better, then I'm not going to see you till fall because I don't know if you're going to be eligible or not. So it's not worth playing you when another kid's doing great in the classroom.
What do you have to do to be eligible for the team? What's the standard?
You have to have over a 2.0, but I don't use that as the minimum. I tell the kids if you're over a 2.3, you're able to do things. If you're not over a 2.3, you're still in study hall because that could slip within a week.
So if you're not over a 2.3, you're not on the team? Or?
No, you're on the team. You're just not required to go to study hall. So I'm in charge of the study hall part of it, and my assistant coaches are in charge of the weight room.
Yeah.
So, but that's where we're at right now. And our numbers this year were really good. Out of the 40 kids who played freshman last year, there was only 12 that were under a 2.0. And out of the 58 kids, I think, that were on roster, 22 of them were under a 2.0.
But how do you get a kid back on track academically?
I think a lot of it is just, knowing that I'm going to be a face there that's going to be a staple. I mean, like I told you before, when you go through a transition where Coach Plummer retires, then you have a new coach, and he steps down and takes another job, the kids are kind of left in the dust like, well, what do I have if I'm going to play football? So other things, and, it's like the world's falling, but, I don't know. There's a plunge in academics for some reason with that, when the stuff like that occurs.
Once you clear that hurdle, the academic hurdle, you get these players on the team. At this point, you're only in your second season, do you worry about the record? Okay, so you had 4 wins last year. Of course, you'd like to have more. Is the record 4-7 a main focal point or not?
It's not a main focal point now, but my thing is by year 3, that number better be reversed by next year. So 4-7 better be 7-4 as a starting point.
By the third year.
That's what I've told our kids, or even by this year. I said, I'm not happy with mediocrity. I've told our kids what mediocre means. It means being average. I don't like being average. I hope you guys wouldn't want to be average in anything you do.
What would you hope for this year? 5 wins, 6 wins, 7 wins?
I think a good goal for us is 7, realistically, and the kids can look at that as that. I mean, I'm not going to be one of those coaches who say, oh, yeah, we're going to win every game this year. I mean, you go out every week to win the game, obviously, but, a goal this year would be let's flip that record from 4-7 to be a 7-4 or better team. That should be a goal to start.
Right.
So the mindset is telling kids, hey, look, this is the kind of work that goes into creating a championship team, a championship culture, because other teams that we play in our non-league schedule in our league, they're doing those things. And some of the off-season hirings that happened in our league, and we just had Mike Vogt get hired at Reedley. We just had Casey Quinn get hired at Roosevelt. We have 2 other coaches, Rick Stewart and Pete Joseph at McLean and Fresno High, that are going to turn those programs around. They're going into their second year. So our league's going to be competitive. But
you're at a disadvantage, though. You got a low enrollment.
It's not that. It's what you can do with those kids. I don't look at that as a disadvantage. It may be a disadvantage because maybe I don't get as many numbers of kids coming out and participating in football, but it's not a disadvantage in getting my kids that are football players ready to play.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not a disadvantage there. The difference between 1,700 kids and 2,000 kids at your school might mean I'm going to have 10 more kids playing football. That might be football players with that enrollment number. So instead of looking at 35, 40 kids playing, I'm looking at maybe 40 to 45 kids playing. That's
so
the
not
difference
that big a difference.
Not that big a difference. No.
Right.
No, it's not a disadvantage when you come to having the smallest enrollment at all.
Do you feel more pressure because your last name is Hill?
I mean, obviously, yeah, you kind of do a little bit, but I don't look at that. I don't really buy into what people on the outside look in.
You got to be your own man.
Yeah.
You got to be your own coach.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. You're paving your own way.
Yes, exactly.
It's a hard thing to do, but you know what? Good luck to you, Mike.
Thank you, John.
I sure am glad you came on the program. We enjoyed having you, and hope you come back again.
Oh, I will. Just let me know.
Yeah, and you've got a young son, right?
Yeah, Cooper. He's 10.5 months. He's about ready to walk.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much, yeah.
Mike Hill, the head football coach at Hoover High. If you get a chance this coming football season, go out there and watch the Patriots and support their football program. We're back tomorrow. We've got another local athlete to profile tomorrow. He's a racer. Hey, this weekend is the Indy 500. Maybe one day he'll be racing there. See you tomorrow.